All right, boom. Jonathan Fibonojji, cue the music. ESPN 30 by 30, one of the best things. Best documentary in sports. Holy shit. Here you go, baby. Anybody who knows me knows that I love ESPN 30 by 30, and I guess I'm kind of I am a documentarian. Here you go. You're kind of watching one of my documentaries right now. Welcome, Jonathan Fibonojji. Okay, some of the stories I would love to tell. Boom. It's a big deal. This is a big deal, guys. These are just some of the stories that I would love to tell. The Mike Leach story. Look at that. Check it out. Tweet him at Coach Leach. It's all right, Fibonojji. Go fund me. Go tell that story of how one of the best minds of all time, well, you tell me. All right, here you go. Top 5 NC2A coaches of all time. Mike Leach, Texas Tech. One of the worst universities in the world out there in Texas. West Texas, there is a difference. Boom. I cannot tell you what a big deal that was. Red Raiders, baby. And then they fired him. In fact, as the making of this video, they just fired Kingsbury. And they hired that one guy right after him. I get so opinionated about West Texas. That's a story we got to hear. We got to talk about that. Mike Leach. He was Me Too'd. He's one of the kind of the Me Too people before the Me Too movement happened. Here I am, Jonathan Fibonojji. Best documentary in the world. I thought, you know what? One thing I want to do is I want to tell not just the story of the places I've been. Here you go. At San Francisco, that's where I'm at. Started in, Oklahoma, and then I moved to Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma. Then Durango, Colorado. Boom. Love Durango, Four Corners. And then I went, Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, San Francisco. Jonathan Fibonojji, photojournalist, chief opinionist, lover of 30 by 30s. So here are some stories that I think people need to talk about. Email me, americano417@gmail.com. If you know Mike Leach, say, Mike Leach, Jonathan Fibonojji's telling the world, all 200 followers, that you're one of the best people of all time and how Texas Tech did you wrong. And they didn't want to pay him. But the allegation, the way they used that allegation, that was the first time we really... Mike Leach is sort of one of those brilliant minds that, I'll tell that story later. Another story that I love, different genre, is the John Daly story. I love John Daly, love him. I mean, if you don't love John Daly, well, don't subscribe, don't forward this content. Maybe you and I aren't going to be friends. I mean, this guy how do you not love John Daly? I mean, I love him. The John Daly story, told by Jonathan Fibonojji. Go fund me. Okay, the third story, if ESPN emailed me and said, all right, Jonathan, we loved your YouTube sales pitch. We want to hire you to tell some of these iconic stories of sports. Well, we need to talk about the Dana White story and the UFC story and why we have to watch Dana White. He's brilliant. So who are some of the smartest people in sports? Well, Mike Leach, Dana White, of course, Jonathan Fibonojji. So who would you add to the list? I got a couple more people I would add. Just really cool stories. And maybe these people are so iconic that you don't really even know. Then there's the sad stories. Here you go. The Daily Bruin, UCLA's newspaper. this is just one of those stories that you really never hear about, because this is it's a really good athlete that, well, he was killed by the police. UCLA basketball player found dead at home. It's a really sad story. Back in July 9th, 2018, when I was in Los Angeles, what I thought was really sad about this guy played 2 years for the Sacramento Kings, and of course I love basketball, but it's a story of how his mother called the police on him. And I thought that was an interesting nuance of the story of, what happens to these athletes after if they don't make the big time. And then we need to talk about who is the greatest basketball player of all time. We need to settle that argument. Holy shit. I think I lost the job because I was so opinionated about, I named my son Jordan. And tell me what you think is going on with the NBA. And then my favorite sport, boxing, the Weekend Warrior, Freddie Roach. These are amazing stories. And do you know who these people are? And then this guy, this cat, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, if you're out there, I would love to be a photographer and follow you around. Tell your story. I think the Tiger Woods story is interesting for a lot of reasons. All right, there you go. The Mike Leach story, the Tiger Woods story. The good to great, the almost. Who would you add to the list? And I'll always be Boomer Sooner, baby. In fact, one of the best ESPNs you'll ever see is the Brian Bosworth story. I'll always be Boomer Sooner. But then, Austin, Texas was a good city to me. But ultimately, I moved to Durango, Colorado, and Jack Dempsey. That's where, I might make a documentary about boxing. And what's happening to boxing and the UFC, and is that a good thing, and how Dana White's still amazing? Go watch my video where I'm asking Dana White to give me a job. I would love to be a photojournalist for the UFC and tell some of those stories, like the Holly Holm story. That's another wonderful story. The Holly Holm story. All right, you guys be good. There you go, my very first sports Fibonojji. Remember, I named my son Jordan, so I'm kind of partial. Of course, Johns are pretty good too. There's a John Daly in all of us. And a Mike Leach. You guys be good. Mike Leach, you better forward this tweet, dude. Go fund me, dude. No, for real, the top 5 greatest collegiate coaches of all time, go. Just go. And if one of those guys, one of your top people is not Switzer, then you might want to, unfollow this channel. Boomer Sooner, baby.